Happy New Year. Yep, tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Is that correct?
Actually in Australia.
It's already happened?
Yeah.
Huh? Well, again, thank you all for being here. Amy, Chris, Bodhi, first time being here, so I really appreciate you coming and trying this thing out called meditation. Can you hear us okay on the screen there, Paul? Good. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Just want to make sure. So first, I want to start with, you can't screw this up. So the best part about it is just how you are being, and being here is, it's perfect. So yeah, you made it. And I have a form that I grew up with that's based on my lineage of Suzuki Roshi, is that picture up there. And then my mom and dad, and they're both Zen priests, and so I grew up with Soto Zen as the style of sitting that you're seeing me sit in right now. And so I'm just going to kind of go over it. I always like to go over it, especially if you've heard it before, that you always want to try and refine and stretch into new areas that maybe you haven't tried before. So if this is, you're hearing it again, see if you can adopt something different, or see if you can change something up that maybe feels a little different. When you sit on this is a zafu is the pillow, and a zabaton is the mat. And so when you sit on a zafu, you actually aren't sitting on the middle of the pillow. You sit on the front third of the pillow is the trick to getting your hips to actually come forward a little bit, so you can bring one foot down like this and the other foot down next to it. And if it doesn't happen right away, this only took me about 20 years to do it like this. So you got time, okay? So it's a great start right there, Chris. If having it, you're close. Don't force it. Just sit with what's comfortable. And again, if you can try it out and say, "Oh, this is kind of nice," and then maybe your foot starts to fall asleep, then I want you to move, maybe to put your foot like this, or tuck it back like this. Another form that I just want to show you is called seiza, and that's what the zafu is actually up on its edge and sitting like that. That's another form. I used to sit like this as a kid. I used to despise sitting with my cross-legged because my parents did it, and I was always doing this. So you can choose to do any position, the chair and or cross-legged, or in seiza. So good job. Look at that, Amy, right into it. That's really good. Okay, and then the next thing is to have your back and your posture at an upright posture. I like to say, like the mountains that we're around, Mount Mauna Kea, Hualalai, nice and straight and strong, that you're a firm base, just like a mountain. And you want to just not be slouched over, or if you do need to move, that's okay. But that you do have a nice posture. Your back will get tight. Your brain will actually go, don't sit in that position. It's too upright. It's too much of a posture. You're holding your posture. Your back will then relax if you stay with it. So if you do need to bend over to release some of the tension, great. That's fine too. Do that. But nice straight back. Your vision in this form is with your eyes open. It's not eyes closed. It's a 45-degree angle. So my chin is actually straight, and then my eyes are right about out here at a 45-degree angle. My belief is, and this is how I explain it, is that by meditating and training with your eyes open, you go through the world with your eyes open, not closed. So if you meditate with your eyes closed and then you open your eyes, it's a different experience. So training with your eyes open, you get to train with how you go through your day. So if you can go through your day grounded and in your hara, or your core, which is this place down here right below your belly, that you can interact with people from training at sitting every day in meditation with your eyes open. Because when I do this, and then I look at Amber, I can still breathe into my diaphragm and still stay connected at a level that is very present, very aware of not only everything around me, but her, and she can feel it. It's a felt experience when you're being that present, when you're breathing into your hara or your diaphragm. So it's like this, 45-degree angle. The mind will want to focus on something on this carpet. It'll want to pick something out. You'll see a bug on the floor, or you'll see a face in the pattern of the rug. That's just your mind creating something. You want your vision to be really broad and wide. So if you look down in front of you, I can actually see everybody around me. It's a little less clear over here, but I can actually see every single person here when I'm present. Can you see me, Amy, when you look down like that? You got that? Chris, can you see over here? I'm waving right now. Okay, you leave your vision really wide and broad like that. So it's one of the things my dad would say is a bright, shining mirror. So all you're doing is reflecting what's around you instead of getting myopic. When you do get myopic, and it happens to me all the time, is by taking a diaphragmatic breath, your vision will come back to being wide. So it's a practice of going narrow to wide, just like it is going from your thinking back to being present and back to being in this moment. Because sitting on a cushion in this kind of environment, your mind is going to get very active and will want to think a lot. And if you attach to it, you'll actually start thinking about tomorrow. You'll think about, what am I doing here? You'll think about an itch that you have to itch. And your job is to constantly return back to being in this moment and present without reacting to what your mind is serving you, let's say it that way. The next thing to this is diaphragmatic breathing. If you've never diaphragmatic breathed, it can be a different experience for everybody. What that looks like is, I like to use the visualization of a vase that looks like that. It comes down and it's a nice vase. And if your breath is like water, it's filling it up from the bottom up. It's coming up from the bottom, because most people breathe like this. Or I'll say, take a deep breath, and they'll go, and they'll suck their tummy way in, and they'll try to breathe really deep. This kind of breathing is where you're letting the breath drop down into the diaphragm. This is what's known as your hara in this practice, or in Japanese, as your core or your center point of your body. If you've ever heard of gut instinct as a common, oh yeah, my gut told me to do that. That's coming from down here. And the more we develop a relationship with it, the more we can respond and be guided through our day from our gut instinct. And in Japanese, we say hara. Okay? So you pour the water. So it looks like this. So it actually lets your belly come out. It's actually having a nice full belly. We want our belly to come out. We don't want it to be sucked in and tight. We want it nice and relaxed. Because when you were born, you actually diaphragmatically breathed naturally. So you're just being reminded of something that you've already done as a child, and you kind of forget when your brain gets involved and says, you don't need that much air. You know, when I swim, I just need a quick, and that's plenty of air for me to keep going swimming. I don't need this to take one breath. I can just keep going with just a little bit of air. So this is practicing deep diaphragmatic breathing. If you can't breathe in your belly yet, totally great. Just breathe naturally how you're breathing in the moment. It's perfect as it is. And then when you get home tonight, or when you go to bed, lay down in bed and put your hand on your belly and visualize pouring the water when you're taking a breath, and you'll feel your hand rise and fall. And take 3 nice deep breaths. It's easier to do it horizontally, to breathe into your diaphragm, than it is sitting up. And then when you start to get good at it, you can start to sit up and then stand up, and you can diaphragmatic breathe. And boy, you can even be in conversations and diaphragmatic breathe. It's a great tool to fully be present for somebody when they're talking, instead of thinking about what you're going to say next. And boy, do I do that well. So I practice at this to be present, listen, and then what does my gut instinct or hara want to say, and I move forward from there. Okay, and the last piece is what's called a mudra. And a mudra is a hand position where your left hand's out and your right hand sits where your fingers are just touching, or the palm, and then your thumbs come together like that. And it's like two pieces of rice paper, or a piece of rice paper you're holding gently right there. I used to go like this a lot. Or like I'll forget and I'll go, and I'll be sitting nice and like this, and I'll forget and I'll start pushing. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right, be gentle. And it's right at the base of your hara. It's like holding your baby at this place and just touching your thumbs, and it looks like this. This is the form of Soto Zen. And your chin is nice and straight, your eyes are at a 45-degree angle, you're breathing really naturally, you're not forcing it. And we're going to sit for 20 minutes together. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. What you're going to see is you'll be looking down at a 45-degree angle. You'll see my hand come up in what's called a gasho. And then I'll grab the striker, ring the bell 3 times. When you see me put my hand, or feel me put my hand up, it'll look like this. So everybody looking over here, I'll go like this. Everybody's going to put their hands up like this. You'll see everybody that's been doing this. Just follow along with them. And then we do what's called a gasho. And we bow to say thank you for being here. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this space. That starts the 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, I ring the bell again. Hand will be up. I'll move. I'm not moving fast. It'll be slow. And then we bow together to end that 20-minute sitting. And then I'll give a 10-minute, what's called a Dharma talk. And then we'll do a 10-minute sitting. And then that'll wrap it up. Okay? Any questions? Okay, you can't get it wrong. You're doing it perfect already. Good job, Chris. Good job, Bodhi. Thank you for being here. Good job, Amy. See, the first time, you got to try it out one time to see what it's like. And it's an experience to sit with your own thoughts. So be gentle on yourself. Try not to judge yourself. If you forget to bow, that's okay. It happens all the time. So if there's no questions, why don't we go ahead and get started, and then when we finish the 20 minutes, we'll move a little bit. So if your legs need to stretch out a little bit or something, great. And Jeff, you're good? You got it? Good. If you need a little higher pillow, are you good with that pillow? It's a good height for you, I think. All right, great. All right, welcome to DojoX Meditation Group. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year. Here's to 2025. If you need to move around a little bit, move your leg out, straighten it out. Chris, look at that, dropping right into the posture, huh? That's really good there. Let your circulation come back. If it goes a little numb.
Hey, Tony, are you talking?
No, not yet. I am right. Right now I am, yes. Can you hear me now? Maybe? No. Okay. We'll keep going. So tonight's Dharma talk, I've been talking about my methodology and my pillars of the monk, the sage, the samurai, and the sensei. And I've been talking about the pillar of the monk and about wrapping up the year and what is it like to look at your habits that you've maybe adopted over this last year that are serving you and habits that aren't serving you. And maybe looking at taking on some new habits that you want to bring into this coming year that would serve you and have you be your best of who you can be. And I always encourage a morning practice of seated meditation, whether it's 3 breaths or 20 minutes, that kind of habit can change the way you show up to all your relationships. And then I talked about the monk of taking the wheel of reflection and looking back at the year and looking at the areas that you've succeeded in, that you've learned in, the wisdom you took, and even the failures from the year. And I put all those up on YouTube, so if you wanted to go back and listen to those, I do have those talks up on YouTube. And so tonight I wanted to move into, now it's coming up to 2026 in 2 days, is the sage. And what is it? The sage for me is the pillar of deep listening, and that listening to your hara or your gut instinct, and like what do you want to create, or who do you want to be by this time next year? And through the practice of zazen, through the practice of seated meditation, you actually get to start to listen to what your body wants, what your internal guidance system wants to have you do or create. And most people only create from their thinking. And the idea that you can sit quietly and listen to your body of like, what is that soft whisper telling me I should do, or what direction should I go? And can I actually start to either give it a voice and be able to articulate it, even write it down on paper of this is who I want to be by next year. And the practice of creating a vision for yourself, not only from your thinking, but from your body, that your body has the wisdom to create something that may seem irrational or impossible or just doesn't make any sense. Or I hear a lot of the times, I don't know how I would do that. And the idea is when you say those kinds of things, that's your body coming up with ideas that your mind doesn't really want you to create or doesn't understand what you're wanting to create. So if you're wanting to travel more than you've ever traveled before, I remember last year with Amber, and we were making our calendar for the year, and we traveled about almost 4 months this year, and it seemed impossible. And it was like a calling to go do it. It stretched me and her to really travel and do that kind of thing together. But we listened and we planned it, and we started saying, what would it be like to actually travel the way that she has a calling for and that I've been leaning into and feeling that calling for traveling more myself. And so I do this a lot with businesses and and my four arenas is work legacy, your spiritual practice, your body, and relationships. And think if you could set a vision for each one of those arenas where you could go, what do I want my body to be like in a year? And like nutritionally, am I putting the things I want in my body? Am I eating the way that I want to eat? Am I going to the gym, or am I training or going for walks, challenging myself? I challenge myself. I'm doing a triathlon this year. I've never done one like this traditional triathlon. And so it's super edgy for me to really do that for myself. And I'm like, ooh, it's scary, and I know it's going to benefit me by training like this in this 50 plus year old body. And so to do that then in your relationships, to go, what would I want to create in relationships? I remember a couple years ago that I didn't have this type of relationships with people that I have with most of you in here. And I was getting called to develop these relationships and going to the gym, and Dexter and Katie just been really phenomenal to have the relationships I have with both of you, and develop the kind of relationships that I get to be in. And Michael's going to the gym, and we're getting to see you there, and I'm having these relationships locally that I've never imagined I could ever have, but I was feeling a calling for it. And so it stretched me to go to the gym on a regular basis and say, I'm going to know everybody's name in there. And my mind is like, you suck at names. What are you doing? Don't do that. Stay in your little bubble. And so I just keep going, and I keep going, and I say, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Over and over and over. And now it's like, I know everybody. And if I don't know, I'm the first one to ask. And so the sage is listening to the wisdom of your body to stretch into areas that your mind may not understand, and go for it. And so what's that? You don't need to have the answer, but I just want to pose the question for you, is that through sitting, you're training yourself to not be identified by your thinking, and learn to listen to your body to actually guide you to move forward. When you don't know how to do it or don't know what to do, this knows, and you can trust it and you can follow it. If I pose the question, have you ever felt your gut instinct? Has it ever guided you in a direction that didn't seem like you should take a left, but you took the left, and it just magically created something in your world that was serendipitous for you? And I know every single person in here, and when I talk to people that say, I haven't really felt my gut instinct, I can draw it out where it's like everybody has followed their gut at some time in their life. And so when you sit in zazen and you start to train at it like a muscle, it's just like a muscle to listen to your body as much or more than you do your mind, because 90% of people listen to this more than their body. They're cut off from here down. A lot of men are cut off from here down. Our job as men is to be okay being in the body. Women, I find, do it a lot easier. The intuitive sense in women, gosh, I want to bring on that side of myself that can be in a masculine body, but also use the body from the neck down as the wisdom of feeling, intuition, emotions, sensations that can really guide me in creating who I want to be and how I want to show up in my relationships for myself. And so when you train at it, my mom would say, when you pray, you're talking to God. When you sit and meditate, you're listening to God. And God is like that gut instinct. Some of my clients and people I talk to say, that whisper is God. And they'll speak of that whisper as like, oh yeah, he talks really quietly to me. And so I say, okay, let's listen to him every once in a while. It's great to pray and great to acknowledge your relationship with him with voice, but what's it like to sit still and let your mind do its thing and go, I wonder what he has to say. And get really quiet in your body and let yourself listen. Sometimes you may not hear anything, but there's a lot going on that hearing isn't done through the normal ways that people think. And so the sage is being that intuitive sense, being in that vision of following things that don't seem right or don't seem logical or rational, or there's not even a way to do it. But we just say, let's do that. And so I encourage all of you for this year of 2026 to listen deeply to your body and follow it. Do things that don't seem rational. Do things that don't seem logical. And see what happens. It's a phenomenal way to live the year. I never thought I was going to go to Norway, Sweden, Finland, Malta, New York. It was like we went to a whole bunch of places, and it was incredible to do that kind of thing. And that's just one example of that, doing it in business and doing it in business. One of the things, and I'm really proud of this, is last night, thank you, Amber and Susie, helped create the DojoX Meditation Manual. And so there's an actual meditation of what I talk about in the beginning that you can download a manual of how to meditate. And so that in the beginning of the year was just something I wrote on my top 3 things of having something like that to offer people, to give it away to people so that it can encourage the practice. So, when you are at home, you can go, oh, look, you can print it out, and it explains exactly step by step how to do what we're doing right here. And so that was just one of those dreams that I didn't know how to, or what I was doing, or how it was going to come into manifestation. And even up until the day before the end of the year, I was like, it's not getting done. And then it was like, it happened. It was, last night at 10 o'clock at night, it was like live. And so dojox.co, that's an easy one to remember, C-O, it's not C-O-M. You can download a copy of it. And that'll give you something that you can read and actually pay attention to. But that's one of those ideas that me and Amber went on a staycation, and she would ask me, in that arena, what do you want for yourself? And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, to bring some form to what I do and how I do it. And so that came out of that. So from traveling to doing that kind of stuff in business, you can do anything. Just let yourself be in dreamy goodness, as Jen Bowers would say, one of my clients and good friends. Jen, I love her. Dreamy goodness. Let yourself dream from the gut. Not only from the mind. The mind's great and it can have cool ideas, but man, what would you do if you did something different next year that you never did before, right? That's what I want for all of us. And by next year, you're like, holy shit, I couldn't even imagine that. So let yourself be in that energy of the sage, and then move forward from there. And that's where the samurai comes in and the sensei comes in, and you can move forward with that. I talk about in my book, The Dojo, about those arenas. And just as a reminder, all these talks are on YouTube. So if you want to go back and see all the rest of the talks that we've done for the year, you're more than welcome to. And then I put the hour-long sitting. So if you're wanting some encouragement to do a seated meditation, you got a 20-minute, a Dharma talk, and a 10-minute meditation at your fingertips. And they're, constantly being uploaded every week. So the Sage, 2026, all right? And let's all create something that's a little outside of the norm of your own comfort zone. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to, Dexter, seeing you next year. Huh?
That's scary.
Right? We'd say, are we going to see you next year? That's in 2 days, next year. So, and then next week, same time, same place. You're more than welcome to bring a friend. When we wrap up tonight, we're going to do a 10-minute meditation to finish off tonight's Sangha or meditation group. If you could fluff your pillow back up of how it was when you started, just it's like kneading dough and you just kind of, give it a little poof like that. Yeah, exactly. And then if you get any lint on your zabaton, if you could just dust that off and just leave them. I love sitting in the morning when I can sit with, it's like all of you are here with me, and I get to sit with all these in place, and then I'll put them away. And and then if you ever have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out or ask questions. I love them, and I'm here to support you in your practice. And if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. So, all right. So let's go ahead and move into our last 10-minute meditation, and then we'll wrap up. Just keep the energy low at the end. Let's try not to have too much talking, hugs and handshakes and that are good, but just be with the energy of that we created tonight in Sangha. All right? Thank you. All right. Thank you for coming tonight. Again, Happy New Year. Dana and Paul, good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming. It's great to sit together.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Good to see you.
And real quick,
Yes.
I just want to let you know, I had a conversation with Lorenzo this week, and it was the first time I've noticed a real difference in his energy. So 100%
Slow down.
due to the fact that I'm sitting with you. So thank you, Tony.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for recognizing and seeing Lorenzo. Aloha.
We'll see you next week, next year.
All right, look forward to it. Bye.